this was what I wanted to do. I knew since I was like 5 years old that I wanted to be a singer. I was going to college and a friend of mine was playing guitar and I started singing with him and we kind of formed this little acoustic thing and I never went back to school. So I've been doing it professionally since I was 21. I play probably somewhere between 25 and 35 gigs a month.
And you love it.
I love it. It's the best job. It's taken a lot of work to get here, but now I get to kind of enjoy the benefits of it, of all my hard work. And I feel like I'm retired almost because my job is just to go and play music and make people happy and get them to have a beer.
Having a beer with Fred is really about getting to people's passion and what makes them tick. Having a beer and having honest, frank, clear conversation that inspires our audience is what it's about. Cheers, Andi.
Cheers.
We've been talking before the show about your life and your family and your friends, and it almost talks like the people that you work with have become family.
100%, yeah.
And in business, and really you're in the music business, there's 3 or 4 things that are key. One of them is persistence.
Mm-hmm.
The other is location. The other is timing and the people you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
And you are a professional musician.
I'm a self-employed musician. I play probably somewhere between 25 and 35 gigs a month.
And you love it.
I love it. It's the best job. It's taken a lot of work to get here, but now I get to kind of enjoy the benefits of it, of all my hard work. And I feel like I'm retired almost because my job is just to go and play music and make people happy and get them to have a beer.
Right. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Florida.
Great state of Florida.
The great state of Florida. You're familiar. I grew up close to where you live now, or where you sometimes live, near Clearwater. I always say Clearwater because Palm Harbor isn't as well known.
Yeah.
I don't like hot weather, so everyone always asks me, how'd you end up here? I relocated. My mom lives up here, and I visited New England all while I was growing up.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I love Maine. I've been here longer now in Maine. I've been here for a long time.
Right. So how did you get into music? Was there somebody, I always say in business, there's usually a mentor or is a family thing. Did you have somebody in your life that...
My dad sang, and I was in church a lot, so I sang in choir. And then they always had chorus in school. And my high school choral director really got me to understand proper ways of singing, and just like, it was great. Like, I was surrounded in music my whole life.
Yeah.
And like in that realm, I was always in chorus, and I, played sports. And then when I got older, I was going to college, and I started, my friend of mine was playing guitar.
Where'd you go to college?
Well, I went to Rollins College at Blair Park.
Yeah.
And, but then I moved. I was at Orono for 1 semester, and a friend of mine was playing guitar, and I started singing with him, and we kind of formed this little acoustic thing, and I never went back to school.
Never.
I just was,
what year was that?
I was a junior, and this was what I wanted to do. I knew since I was like 5 years old that I wanted to be a singer. And so I lucked out in that I can sing. But so built from that, and I've never looked back. So I've been doing it professionally since I was 21.
Right.
But now I'm full-time. I was also in the restaurant business, which a lot of musicians are to combat.
Did you own a restaurant?
I owned a bar for for a year, but then I had to get back into music. But I was with Joe's Boathouse, and we
one of my all-time favorite.
It is. I miss it so much, and all of us.
I still see Joe and the rest of the crew once in a while.
Yeah, and we're all still a big family. Like, I can text them, and now the drummer in the band and the new band that I'm singing with is my very good friend's son, Kevin and Kristen Sutton. So. It's funny, I've known him since before he was born, and now we're in a band together.
Yeah, and I think we might see him in
maybe. You can't really miss Declan.
Okay. So, and you're making a living doing this. This is a business. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's a business you've hit a plateau on? Do you feel like it's a business your future is bigger and brighter, or do you?
I am the busiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And this was from when I was in 3 bands at once and doing all that before. I'm busier now.
Yeah.
And I've kind of taken the job to understand as an acoustic performance, kind of like what Don Campbell does, in that you want to adhere yourself with your audience and you want to make it them to have a good experience. And when you do that and you're learning new material, not every show is the same, and you're kind of involving them, they come back. And that way you're wanted to come back because people, are gravitate to that because they feel like they're a part of something. And that's really what's been going on. And now it's just gone from an occasional solo gig to I'm already booked for the rest of this year and into next.
Yeah.
And it just keeps, and keep more opportunities coming. And it's been great.
So we have this Shipyard Radio 207 was inspired by John Shannon, who wanted to have main artists with original music played on the radio continuously. And we have that on there. And I'm really excited that you have a lot of new original music that you will be able to play.
I'm so excited. I don't think I've been in the studio it was probably around 10 years. I have several recordings with my other band, Down in Gravity, and I have a solo record, and I've done a lot of original music. But these two new songs that we just did, I'm so excited about them. I'm so excited to release them.
What are the names of the songs, and what's the...
So the first one's that we're going to release in June is called Cherry Red. I love this song. I literally started writing it over a decade ago, and I couldn't finish it because I liked it so much that I didn't want to ruin it by just throw whatever. So I had it in my mind, and when we first with this new band wanted a song, I was like, I have this song, but I haven't finished it yet. Well, Declan's mom, Kristen, I used to go when I worked at Joe's Boathouse on my break at a double and go play her songs that I had written.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I'm going to play this song. And I go, I don't know what to do with the bridge. And she was like, you want to take that word, you want to switch the connotation, and then you want to go up, and boom. And she finished it in 4 minutes.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my God. So that was our first song. So we got the band together and cultivated it as a band. And now we're going to release it in June.
When was it?
We just went in the studio like not even a month ago. And now we had it. The engineer, Jonathan Wyman, I've been working with him since I was in my 20s. He's absolutely incredible. And the boys took to him so much. He's a quarterback. He knows what he needs. And then we had Adam Ian, who was with Gateway with Bob Ludwig.
Oh, wow.
He took over for Bob Ludwig. So he just mastered him. And we just got the masters back.
So you did it in the same studio that
we did.
Bruce Springsteen?
I wish that. I had gone to Gateway when I had met Bob, and that place was insane.
Yeah.
And Adam is just as talented, and he took over when Bob retired. And
in that same studio, or
I think he has his own studio now.
Right.
And so now everything's digital. So you send him, John, the producer sends them to him. He masters them, and we just got them back last week. So now you go and forward and you put them on Spotify and Apple Music and all that, and we're going to release them in June.
How many shows that you're really excited about, say, in the next 30, 60, 90 days?
Oh, well, I'm really excited because the band last minute proposition to put together a country aspect. So we're kind of a party band. We're all over from the Beatles to Michael Jackson to some country, which is After Dark. But now we're going to be doing the Brunswick, which is the POR nights, Thursday nights, and Sunday evenings at the Porthole. And it's going to be more of a focus on country. So
cool.
That to me, I'm a Miranda Lambert fan, Lainey Wilson. I love country. So I'm very fired up. And the best part about our band, well, one of the best parts is we have 3 lead vocal caliber singers in it. So me, Justin Carver, and Uriah Carver, his son, all sing. So there's 3-part harmony. There's different lead vocals for each song. So we can cover everything. Right. So when we just started, we'll think Keith Urban, I'm like, oh, that's Justin. And then, Lainey Wilson, I'll sing that. And Chris Stapleton, that'll be Uriah. So it's so fun to have all that.
And you're going to be at Smith Farm, too, this summer in Falmouth.
I love this gig. I love this gig. Every Tuesday it has been, I'm trying to think, it's either been the 6th, 7th year?
Yeah.
That I've been doing it. And there's this collection of people that we have and we went through COVID together, and we literally are there every Tuesday.
Nice.
And we have so much fun, and it's so interactive, and they pick the songs, they send me requests they want me to secretly learn to show everybody. It's a great, and what a great.
So what's amazing to me with all the technology, we get all these things, people like yourself, Don Campbell, Jimmy Champy, other people I know, they make a living playing music when it could simply be plug and play for a lot of locations, a lot of places. And that energy, I think you can't replace the human energy and excitement about being there in the moment. And we were talking earlier about, I was in Liverpool at the Cavern Club and how I just felt the spirit of it. And I'm excited about seeing you again. I've seen you once, twice, but, so with this, when you look at the future, do you feel like we're going to see a change? Do you see it staying? Do you think people are always going to?
I think, honestly, that COVID was when it was taken away from everyone.
Yeah.
it was, when it was given back, it was so well received and overly well received. People were like, oh my God, it's back. And now there's so much, both the restaurant business and music business. People are, and I love that. There's so much that's still like, I walk in and I see someone performing. That's so much better than hearing a song on the radio to me. Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel that way. So, and it's your own spin and it's whatever. And it's the human connection, like you said, between the artist and the people listening. And I feel like that's never going to go away. I feel like there's always going to be new music. There's always going to be people that want to hear the old stuff, the new stuff, whatever. You're never going to have a point where everyone's kind of fed up with it.
Right. They thought horses were going to go away when they invented the automobile, and there's more horses in service today than pre-automobile. At least that's what I heard on one of my YouTube.
Yeah.
Videos. But advice for young artists, young people that want to do what you're doing, you're making a living doing it. You're talking to, somebody else in the audience out there. What are like 1 or 2, 3 key things you think you have to really make a living at it?
To make a living, what I'm doing, what Don Campbell, I think, and is that your job is to keep someone, to hopefully get them there, but then once they're there, to keep them.
Yeah.
And my job, if I were to play here, is to sell like an extra beer by playing that song for the guy that was just about to leave, but hey, do you know, take it easy. But yep, I do. Let me play it. Oh, I'll grab one more beer. My job is to make the environment welcoming. That's my job. Make it an experience that people want to come back to, make it fun, So it's as much as a lot of people, and I encourage you to write your own stuff. And I was an original artist with my first band. We played 90% original music. And I love that. But as I got older, for being a solo performer, I was like, all right, I need to go with the cover songs because that's what people are looking for. However, I'm not saying don't write original music because I'm doing it as well. You can do both. There's a nice balance in every way you can do in life. I will say that that's the way to make a living as a solo performer, is really just, you want to be what the venue wants you to be first, and then what the audience wants you to be as well, so that you have this nice, cohesive, fun experience,
So the business, the people behind you and your brand, do you have an agent?
I have a manager.
A manager.
She's very, very good at what she does.
Very good.
Very good. I mean, I'm honestly the busiest I've ever, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm doing so much.
She takes what off your plate?
I don't even know where I'm playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that a lot of artists know, the grind. I grind forever. I went out looking, you have to cold call. Can I come play your place? And you work and you go and you go and you go. And now I have someone doing all that for me. And the best part about it is, especially in a band situation, you got to deal with 5 people's schedules. Right. So by the time I'd call you, Fred, you're a giant drummer, I've got that. And then they come back, that date's already filled. Can you do that? All of that. And it's great.
Well, you came in with a couple of
shady characters.
One familiar face, and then, so we're going to introduce, and you're going to introduce a couple of your friends that have come along with you.
Absolutely.
So we'll take a moment and have them come on. Why don't you introduce your family?
Well, as I mentioned, behind the brand, this tall young lad behind me is Declan Sutton, that I was mentioning from Joe's Boathouse. I worked with his mother and his dad. So I knew him before he was born. And literally from the time I've watched him start playing drums when he was 18 months. And kept watching him. He sat in with me at the Snow Squall, and I kept watching him. And then I think 2 years ago, I was like, you really need, I told Melissa, because she's, immersed in the music business, you got to see my friend's kid play the drums. He's insane. And he kept getting better and better. And then we got him hooked up with a band, which I'll let her talk about it. But then somehow, Kismet, we're playing in a band together, and I love it. He is phenomenally gifted, and it's so fun to play with him.
And you're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you can't have a beer. You can have water. You say you like water. And but you are in high school getting ready to graduate.
Correct, yeah.
And I've in the past talked to young people about what they're going to do in the future. And what's amazing is you know exactly what you're going to do in the future. Mm-hmm. So, and you're excited to do that, which is nice. So tell us a little bit about when you knew that you were going to make music your life.
Oh, I don't know. Probably when I was maybe like 12, and I started really, locking in on the drums, really trying to be like, if I can work on this, then I can make it something I can do for the rest of my life. And then last year, when Melissa set me up in a band and I was playing, I was like, okay, I kind of like where this is going. And then recently with Andi, where we got a good thing going on. So
Well, you seem a lot more mature for an 18 years old. That hasn't even
Sure, and I am actually.
hasn't even graduated from high school yet. What's the most challenging thing at your age? Thinking, okay, I've got to confront the question of, am I going to go to college? What am I going to do? How do you manage through that?
I think that's the most challenging thing, figuring out whether if I go to college or keep doing the music. But I think
it's if you're going to go on the date or if you're going to take the gig. That's the way
okay, yeah. No, it's definitely more just I've thought about going like doing college or going to trade school, but maybe using that as a backup plan. But for as of now, keep playing the drums, keep playing music, hopefully with Andi.
Do you see yourself as a business person? Do you see yourself as going out and building a brand within a brand? Do you even think about that? Or where
You do with Uriah.
You don't, I do.
Yeah. See how these ladies accept today?
Hold on, Yoster. Yep. We know with Mom. We know that.
Okay, we got to get him in trouble there.
True. It's more, I play with another guy named Uriah. He's also in the band. We have a really good thing going on that Melissa is kind of helping us get going. And I think that's more kind of something that we can also buckle down on as well.
That speaks volumes of her as well, because as a drummer, it's not as easy for him to get a gig, right?
Right.
But you're right. He set up this cajon with a little snare, and he made it so that it's user-friendly. So he can play in a Pat's Pizza, or he can play wherever. And the two of them, being that they're in the R band as well, they do it the duo a lot, which they're great, gaining so much, momentum, just the two of them. When they come into the band, they're so locked in because they're playing all of these songs together, and they're building that. I mean, a lot of people know now, like Justin, the dad of Uriah, is like, I hear all the time, like, hey, I saw your kid with that drummer kid.
Right.
So they're gay, and you can't really miss Declan. He's tall and he's got, red hair. So like everyone, remembers him. And
I think about what you're saying in particular. I see Declan as building his own brand every day of the week. We have his big red afro on the front of his bass drum.
Right.
People recognize him when he's out and about. Right. She's also a very well-versed dancer. Yeah. He's danced in the community since he's been. So I see that as being his own brand. And in terms of business, I mean, what better way to promote yourself than with your own brand, right? So
right.
I think this kid's got the runway is forever. So yeah.
Well, Robert Frost says, make your vocation your advocation. So if you really love it, which, Andi, you said you did, and it seems like you do. Melissa, I know you've got a passion for it.
I do.
As well, but also building behind the scenes. You've been involved in a number of bands over the years, and venues and events. And I think Portland, what's nice about Portland, it was never a tourist town. Maine and southern Maine and northern Maine, Bar Harbor, Kennebunkport, those were all communities that for 60 days kind of exploded. And recently you really add up the number of hotel rooms that have come to Portland, and you've got, say, 12 new hotels in the last 6 years. And for 12 months out of the year, there's going to be need for people to go out and do things they need to do. So it's great seeing young energy. It's great seeing you, Andi, wanting to perform in this area, because everybody wants to go to Nashville or go somewhere else and make it huge. But we know, like with the Don Campbell Band, he's made it a living out of playing in mostly Maine recently. Had been in Nashville, and then Jimmy Champy from the Jim Champy Band, who was a close family friend, also making a living. And there are a number of people doing that in Maine, because I think the community supports that, right? They support live music, and there's a power and an energy behind music, and especially live music. And so when you think about the future for these two artists, do you try to map out what that is, or how far out do you think?
I just, by being me, I've always been a kind of 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan kind of person. I think it's smart. I ironically, as you alluded to, started as a performing artist and have kind of ended up on the back end of things because of my relationships in business, and I think because of the way that I think, which is marketing and branding. I definitely, I'd love to work with Declan and Andi forever, but I definitely try to think outside the box, not just in how can we lock them down for 3 or 5 years, but more importantly, what's important, for them and where they want to go as artists. So I feel really aligned with Andi's goals as an artist. And again, using Don Campbell and Jim Champy as role models, being a mainstay in this Southern Maine music scene, I think is Andi's goal. I think with Declan, I'd love to help, kind of foster and create this environment so that maybe if he, flies away for the time being and he comes back, he's welcomed with open arms. So it's always in the back of my mind. But again, they're doing most of the work on their own. I always say to them, I can open the door and book a gig for you, but if you don't go and play the show and live up to the venue owner's expectations or the buyer's expectations, you're not going to get invited back. Well, as a result, these guys are crushing it. They're invited back everywhere they go in triplicate. So as far as, I go, again, I'm one of these weird people that always likes to do better. So yes, I will always think in terms of, how can we go a little further, but just trying to stay aligned with their goals too. It's been amazing. I can't, again, if you told me that I'd be almost 50 years old and doing this with my life, I would have said absolutely no way. But if I could go back to my 20-year-old self and say, follow your passion, I certainly would do it. So
I would again.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
And,
cheers to that.
Yeah, we're gonna hear a little bit of your music.
Yep, and the song I think we're going to play will be out for everybody in June 13th, which will be great. All right, this one's called Cherry Red. You ready? Oh, 1, 2. I ain't no sentimental fool. Lied the way when I was younger. Lied the way I was with you. And I've been a sucker for too long. I've been underneath your thumb. Yeah, you blame me for a fool. Everything's gonna be alright once I break a fuse. Well, I used to think you hung the moon. Oh, the stars would always shine when you walk into the room. And I couldn't see behind that smile. You were beating me a line. It went on for miles and miles. I got whiskey in a bottle, got the devil on my back, got a million ways to lose myself. I ain't coming back. Got my heart good and shattered, but you up and left, so I'm about to set this world on fire, baby, till it's cherry red. But that little angel is long gone. I wanna make a few mistakes, do something good and wrong. So bartender, pour me up another. Here's the lessons that we learn. Raise them up then, watch them burn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got whiskey in a bottle, got the devil on my back, got a million ways to lose myself. I ain't coming back. Got my heart good and shattered, but you up and left, so I'm about to set this world on fire, baby, till it's cherry. Ready or not, yeah, here I go. There's no way I'm slowing down. Guess you forgot that I'm the one who can light it up, burn the whole thing down. Yeah, I got whiskey in a bottle, got the devil on my back, got a million ways to lose myself. I ain't coming back. Got my heart good and shattered, but you up and left, so I'm about to set this world on fire, baby. Yeah, I'm about to set this world on fire till it's cherry red. There it is. Thank you so much.